Hello, welcome to Furious Driving, the channel where I buy cars no one else wants and then rapidly realise why that was. Now this week I should be working on the V8 Rover tucked away in the garage in front of this very Volvo. I have actually been doing some work on it. There has been some progress made, but then there's also been some of, I don't know, what's negative progress, when progress goes backwards. So I'm currently in that situation where I know I should be working on it, but I'm kind of bored of that game right now. So something else has been bugging me a while, and that is the fact that when this MOT late last year, it was pointed out that there was some corrosion that was non-structural but visible underneath the floor of this car. And so far I've been very successful at completely ignoring that. So today I'm going to lift it up and take a look and find out exactly how bad things really are, and hopefully it's nothing too much to worry about. Incidentally, I've not put any of the side trim back in properly because I knew I was going to have to be taking out the carpet and the seats and things again in order to deal with that. And yeah, I would like my side trim back in really because it looks a bit messy in here. Right, let's lift this car up and find out what we're dealing with. Now I started off getting ready to use the axle stands, but then I realised I'm looking for a potential rust hole or just a flaky area of underseal, so I'm going to need access to all of the chassis and all the chassis rails. So I've moved it over to the ramps instead because I figured that would be more useful. Now I can get underneath there and start having a look around. So you join me underneath the Volvo 740 and I'm looking around for some rust, and so far I'm a little disappointed in my search. I know I've not got this on a ramp, it's just on axle ramps, what do you call them, wheel ramps, but I can't really find anything wrong with it. I probably want to be draining the differential and putting some fresh oil in that, I'd imagine. But so far, the only exposed metal I found is this bit here, which isn't exactly a rail, it's more of like a end of a pressing of the rear floor pan, I think. Yeah, this is the fuel tank just here next to me, and this is taking a little nudge from something and the underseal is peeling off, so I wonder if that's what he was referring to when he said exposed rust on the advisory. So that's pretty much nothing to worry about. Let's have a bit more of a look around. This is the other side of the same thing. That has also got a bit of a dink in it. It's crusty down here. It's exposed metal where the underseal is gone, but it doesn't actually appear to be any holes. So again, wire brush and underseal, I think. Oh hang on, no, there's a bit of a hole. Is that a hole? No, it's just very thick steel. Oh no, there's a hole just there. Yeah, I need to deal with that. Okay, so I found a hole right by the jacking point. That's lucky. I didn't just jack the car on that. Oh wait a minute, I did. So we've found our advisory from the MOT. The other side is just flaky. The other side is just flaky, nothing really to worry about. Right, let's go find a wire brush. Right, let's go with the old whizzy buzzy and see what I can find. Oh, there's a tiny hole, it's nothing really to worry about. But there's meant to be a hole there, there's a drain hole, but if I just take that little corner off just there, zap in a tiny new bit of metal, that won't be too hard. Well, do you know what, considering this car is what, 1988, so it's pushing 33 years old, and apart from the rust I dealt with in the front of the car last year, this is just all I've got to deal with, just a little scab of flaky underseal just here, and a little pinhole just there. I'm pretty relieved of that, and I'm also kind of relieved because on my Mini that had an advisory saying that there was some corrosion on the chassis as well, on the floor pan as well. So I'm hoping it's something very similar to that because I've not ventured underneath that car either. But now I've cleaned it back with the wire brush on the drill. Going to get a bit more serious with this thing just to get it back to some bare metal and go from there. Can't drink under a car. Right, so that's now doused in a load of rust removing gel, which can go and do its thing while I go pop down to grab a couple of the bits and pieces from the shops. Meanwhile, thank you very much indeed to whichever viewer it was who sent me a bag of ragtag cheapy throwaway brushes for this exact kind of job, because they were fed up of watching me try and put things in with bits of newspaper. Thank you. I've forgotten your name because it was a couple of months ago, but thank you whoever you are. That was for the junk in the trunk post bag feature. Honestly, this is the smallest little plate I think I've put on this car so far. In fact, one of the smallest plates I've ever put on a car. And really, I could actually get away with just undersealing the whole lot and it would look fine. But it'll just make a smaller drain hole, make it a bit prettier, and the MOT man next year won't be thinking I'd ignored his advisory. You know, I've taken it seriously, which is a good thing. Right, let's go and zap this on quickly. Now, I don't always think to remember to say to do this, but I always do it in reality. But always disconnect the battery before you do any welding, otherwise you might have an explosion. So I'm just going to grab a 13mm and whip that off. So hopefully this will be very easy indeed. It's already gone wrong. He says, remembering how much he hates welding upside down. Good, one tack in place, so it's hopefully not fall off now. Ow, I'm on fire. Ow, that hurts. Ow, Jesus, that's still on my sleeve and really on hot. Better. How does the old phrase go? It's bad, but it'll do. I'll smother it in under seal. Got some good stuff in the boot. Let's finish up. I've got this Comma underbody seal, which is apparently really good stuff for just dousing everything. I won't do the bottom of this bit here first because I do need to lower it down on the jack. But this car is so high up, I can do that with the car on the ground anyway. But all up inside that repair, on the bottom of that chassis nut rail, and a spot I noticed was flaking off down the front. Give them a quick blast with the stuff, keep the rust with demons out. Oh damn, it's on the drive. Forgot to put cardboard down because it's dripping. Well, that's all coated in black rust-proof stuff. I'll give it 2 or 3 more coats after it's dried, so I can come back here in the morning and zap it all over. But luckily, as I say, this car is just so ridiculously high riding off the ground, I don't need to jack it up again. I can just crawl underneath virtually and do that. Right, let's get off the jacks now before it gets dark and any colder. Well, that was genuinely a relief at how little there was rotten underneath this car after the massive weldathon I had last year, or back during the first lockdown, when I was having to put, well, gravy plates into the footwells here in the front of the car. I was expecting the worst from the back of it, so that was quite a good result as it goes. Now, I had intended to service this car as well, because I've owned a car just over a year and have never serviced it, so it's probably about time for that. But it's getting kind of late, so I'm going to say thank you for watching, and please do the usual YouTube stuff, like and subscribe and bell notification, bloody bar. Next video on this car will be giving it a service because, oh, it needs doing basically. Right, thank you for watching, I'll see you again next time.